Welcome back to Making Video Your Business. Today I'm joined by my friend Francesca from Future Cloud Accounting. Francesca.
Hello.
That was hard to say.
It was a mouthful. Can you imagine saying Future Cloud Accounting 3 times?
Maybe, yeah. Future Cloud Accounting, yeah. Sorry. So we've been friends for quite a long while.
Yeah.
We met just after COVID, 2020-ish.
Yeah, ish.
When
yes.
we came into your business to film as part of the Newark Business Awards.
Yeah.
Which we were doing for iLive. For the
you was at the time, yeah.
And since then, your 2-person accountancy firm has evolved.
It
somewhat.
has evolved quite a lot. A lot can change in 5 years.
It can. And I remember working with you then.
Yeah.
And you hated visuals. You didn't like being on camera. You weren't.
It was no. That's not. It wasn't that bad. I was already doing camera.
Yeah.
I was being brave. Let's put it that way.
Brave.
But I was very nervous about it.
Yes, that's the point.
Yeah.
The point
so
was,
as a professional in the professional services and a lot listening in, it is scary to put yourself out there on social media because as an accountant, you are behind the scenes getting stuff done, not showing yourself out there with your personality online. So I thought when we started Future Cloud, I said to my then business partner, we need to be on LinkedIn and I'm going to do a video from the car sharing the journey. But when I met you, the professional videos is what I struggled with.
Yeah. What do you think it is about, or what was it for you that gave you that nervousness? Because it's one of the biggest things we get asked a lot is how do you overcome that nervousness? How do you get more confident on camera? Because now, looking at you today, you've done loads of video now. You're really present on LinkedIn, Facebook, both business stuff, personal stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you've done a load of podcasts.
Yeah.
You now have your own podcast, which we'll talk about in a minute. But how do you think you've built that confidence to get to a level where you pretty much just don't care anymore?
By doing, just try and try again. And to be honest, I still get nervous now.
Yeah.
Because putting yourself out there, it makes anyone nervous, but I just think I'm still brave enough to do it. You just push yourself through it because I know how good it can be. And I've shared that and I've proven that. And the fact that video is still behind, I think, for a lot of businesses. I think if you're not doing video nowadays, I think you're missing a massive trick.
We talk about a lot of businesses not doing it. So we've been working with professional businesses for 8 years coming June, right? We've worked with lots of different sectors. We do loads of work in property. But we've worked with other sectors. But finance and accounting, which is your field, there's still not loads and loads of people making anything visual. No. Why do you think that is?
There's probably the stigma of it. Like I say, that the professional services, they'd just like to hide behind the scenes, maybe scared of getting something out there that's wrong. With tax and stuff, there's so many things that change so quickly. Yeah. But if they write blogs, so you may as well do a quick video and don't worry about it coming across wrong. You can still press the delete button. I think it's that fear, it's that perfectionism of looking professional and perfect. Yeah. Whereas I had to just break through that and do fun ways of showing content for tax and fun ways of, and with business as well. What I realised as accountants, you don't just have to talk about tax. There's other elements to it, like mindset, if you want to talk about that, your hobbies, and you'll attract like-minded people by doing that as well. So I think are they behind other accountancy firms? I follow a few that are doing it now, or the solicitors. I think more solicitors need to be doing it. I think
legal's behind in terms of visuals.
So behind. Yeah. It's like, show who you are, but do a video about what value you bring as well, and keep doing that video.
I think it is difficult, as you say, finance and stuff, you're very heavily regulated, with the FCA and all those other sorts of things, right? Yeah. But I think you're right. You can talk around your subject as well. You don't always have to talk about things that are necessarily going to trip you up.
Yeah, exactly.
I think where a lot of businesses fall over, in my opinion, is that they talk too much about what they do, and not how they do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like a lot of companies, and you're in finance. Yeah. In Newark-on-Trent, it's where you're based, but you operate all over the UK.
100%. Yeah.
But there will be a lot of accountants in Newark. Yeah. Lots.
Exactly.
But you all do the same job.
But
you all do the same job, right? You do the same thing,
yeah.
Right? You would advise on tax, you advise on finance, you do end of year accounts, you do payroll, you do, all these other things that are really important to business. They all do the same job, but it's how you do your job, the quality of the work you do, the people that do it, the customer service, the care, all of that. That is your points of difference, and those things aren't going to trip you up.
Exactly.
They're not things that if you put them on video would cause you a headache, because they're not going to, you know, whoever does whatever in your office, doing a bit of a profile on that person and why they love finance and how long they've been with you and all those other bits and pieces. That's not going to cause you any headaches, right?
Exactly. I just think it's the more people that can see who you are and what you're about online. You don't even have to go. I don't go face-to-face networking if I can help it now. And I went to the New York Business Club for years, like religiously. I do like meeting like-minded people, but I feel like I've met people online now because people feel like they know me because they're watching my videos.
Yeah.
So it's easy to have that conversation. So you know where people say to you, "Oh, I just prefer to meet face to face." I think that's going to dwindle down.
Yeah.
So it's all online.
Well, it's all cost effective, isn't it?
Yeah, so
if you think about pre-COVID,
Yeah.
you know, and I think the pandemic, awful time for everybody.
It's really scary.
But it has been quite a big catalyst for business change. I was actually chatting to a business coach, really great guy, and he said that within 10 months of the pandemic, business evolved 10 years in terms of how we do business. You know, and I think that there's, you know, a lot fewer traveling salespeople. A lot fewer people are driving all over the country.
Yeah.
You know, people have adopted Zoom and Teams and Google Meet and all those things into the business, which pre-COVID, I didn't do very much of that. Did you?
To be honest, this is interesting. I did, because when we set up Future Cloud back in 2019, I'd already done some bits on Zoom before. So one of the other things I said is, if we are going to have a meeting with somebody, let's do it on Zoom and save the travel of 2 hours to get to not,
so
you
you're
know,
already thinking about that pre.
Yeah, which was really lucky. And we built a virtual digital practice.
Yes.
We didn't do the old style anyway. So the only thing we did do was get an office, which is now debatable whether I'm going to still have an office with the way we run things. But yeah, so luckily for us, we were already on that page. That's because we're forward thinking.
Yeah, I mean, we'd used it for our business for video, for visuals
Exactly,
and stuff.
yeah.
We'd run some training through it, but it certainly was not every day for us. You know, now it's every day.
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
I'll have, 2 or 3 meetings a day, half a dozen a week, which are all online.
They're exhausting though, aren't they, online? Still,
Yeah,
I think
the problem with Zoom, and this is a tip actually that I give people, you know, if you're running training or you're doing a seminar or you're doing a bit of something, you have to almost be a bit extra. You have to almost give like 120% of you.
100%.
You have to, I describe it as having to be a bit like a children's entertainer.
Yeah.
You know, you have to always bring
Yeah.
like a load more energy because it needs to translate through the screen.
It does.
You know, because it can get quite dry just sitting, you know, because you're not with other people.
Yeah.
And you need to try and be like super hyped almost.
Oh, it's
You know,
so hard.
So it is exhausting.
It is exhausting.
I do find it exhausting to do a lot. You know, I ran a load of mastermind sessions last week.
Yeah.
And I did 5 half-hour sessions back to back. And, you know, I had to, you know, you have to stay upbeat, stay energized.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard now that I don't drink much caffeine. You know, to stay
You were saying that earlier.
Yeah, I was saying that the other week. Now, so it's hard to kind of keep that energy up.
It's so true.
So what would your, Francesca's top tips, you know, your top 3 tips for people to become more confident on camera? What would your sort of top 3 tips be?
I would say practice on your own camera first. Do a little selfie video.
Great tip.
Talk to somebody on that camera like you talk to a friend. So pretend the only way I could describe it is when I did my videos, I pretended in my head I was talking to somebody, a friend already. I don't know, just so, because someone actually said, God, you always make it sound like you're talking to me.
Yes.
And this is on LinkedIn.
That's nice.
So I'd say practice your own videos. If you then, another tip, if you do mess up and get a word in wrong, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Don't re-edit it. Just laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
That's another tip. Laugh at yourself. It's fine. Move on.
I think errors are important now.
Yeah, they are.
Because with the rise of AI and stuff and the mistrust around, is that real person? Is that a real person? Is that real? I think the errors actually make it real.
So
that's my personal
interesting story that I heard the other week, actually. So they were selling a smoothie maker, for example.
Yeah.
And
Ninja.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what it was.
Other brands are.
Yeah. And one of them spilt it on one video, and then the other one was perfect. The one with the spilt drink sold more.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, if they spill it, because I'm definitely going to get it wrong at home.
Yeah.
So that's where the buyers want to know that it's humans, that they can mess up if they want.
Yes.
It's not perfect.
Yeah.
Because you can get that assumption that if you buy a gadget, I'll never be able to work it out. They make it look so easy.
Yeah.
So it's with that in mind, as an accountant, I'm even writing a post or a copy to go with your video. That's quite hard going.
Yeah.
Because my grammar's not perfect, but I'd rather put it out there and speak how I talk. There's another tip for you. That's 3.
Yeah.
Write how you speak.
Yeah.
And it's okay to sound like not big words and be like that.
And I guess that for the video, I guess that's be authentically you.
Yeah, it's so true.
That's a good tip.
And it's really difficult because I get it. At the beginning, I thought, oh my God, what am I doing here? Talking like this and laughing. And to be honest, I couldn't watch a video back for a very long time.
Well, you and Brad Pitt, he never watches anything he's made, did you?
Does he not?
Nope.
Oh,
No,
wow.
I do.
He's a mate of mine, by the way.
I do because
No,
I'm super vain. I watch everything. No,
yeah.
Well, I do.
Yeah,
Genuinely though, actually, I don't watch loads of our stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't love how I look all the time. But
yeah.
I do listen to this podcast back, even if it's me and you,
God.
because I want to try and learn. Like, and that's one of the things people see. Like, when we shared on before, we've had over 100 episodes of the podcast now.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, well, it's all right for you, Chris, because like you're confident on camera and it's your job, blah, 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 right? But we actually shared some footage of a thing called the prop show that we did back in 2018, 17, 18. It was really budget. It was a bit mallet, right? There was a load of stuff. And we put some clips into this podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like chalk and cheese, right? Comparing yourself today to then, right? So people see us now and go, oh, it's great. It looks fantastic. It must be really straightforward. But then it was terrifying.
Oh,
then it was terrifying. Even for us, it was terrifying because we were good behind the camera, not in front.
Mm-hmm.
So many do public speaking for the first time.
Yeah,
that was terrifying, and now
Tell me about
it doesn't bother me. We're at the Guild conference, Guild Property Professionals conference at the end of this week.
Yeah,
and we're speaking on stage in front of 250 agents, me and Matt. So that's good, right?
Really good.
And we're not bothered now, because we know what we talk about. We know what we're talking about. So I think that's a key thing. I think that's one of my top tips for people about confidence. Like, you are in control.
Yeah.
One. And also, the more you do, the better you get at it.
Oh, it's
no different to anything else.
I remember my first videos. I'd cringe. I probably talked too fast. There was one video. I know I had lipstick on my teeth, but I didn't know until someone pointed it out.
I've never had that problem.
Exactly. Well, I hope you haven't.
Never had
actually. You sure?
Yeah. It's 2025.
Yeah.
But I've never had that problem.
Yeah. So someone commented. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even watch that back. And then I thought, no, I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
Who cares? That's human.
I think the errors are good. I think the errors are good.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about Future Cloud. So obviously you're accountancy practice. Most people who were in business will know what accountants do.
Yeah.
But what is it that you do differently, and what is your aspiration for it?
Straight away, the first thing we do differently is that we are approachable and easy to talk to. They were the two main things.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the two main things that I knew a lot of clients struggled with. And fast information. You can get information online at a touch of a button anyway, but wouldn't it be great to have that professional doing that for you?
Yeah.
Like replying quite quickly. So bringing in WhatsApp. Obviously, we still use emails, but it's good to reply quite quick. Whereas I've been from a corporate firm that takes up to weeks to reply because they're too busy.
Yeah.
And it's good to look busy.
I think it's hard, finance, because I'm not a numbers guy.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a words guy.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm an artist.
Creative.
Creative.
Yeah.
I'm creative.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with numbers. My wife is an accountant.
It's interesting how you say you're terrible with numbers. You remind me of someone saying, I'm not a runner.
Yeah.
That's
not right now. I was.
Yeah, but do you see what I'm saying there? People, I used to say, I'm not running, it's not for me. Now I run.
Yes.
And it's probably because it's not a priority of yours, or maybe it's something you're not that interested in to look at, or you're scared of it.
Yeah,
a lot of people say they're scared of their numbers, to be honest.
I mean,
no, it's getting a bit hot.
Michelle,
collar up now.
No, Michelle, who does our finance, is my wife, and she's phenomenal at that.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
It's not so much a scared; it's that I don't need to worry about it. I've
that's interesting.
compartmentalized it.
Yeah.
In that we're married. I trust her.
Yeah.
She works in our business. She deals with it. I get profit and loss, and I get a good
so
financial picture.
you get the bits of it.
I get all of the parts.
Yes,
yeah, but I don't need to worry about the nuts and bolts of doing.
No, exactly.
Which is great.
Yes.
And it's explained to me in a way that I can understand. Which
exactly
is
that.
And that I think is the number one thing, because I think when you look at what we do, what you do,
yeah,
on the face of it, it could be like for people quite daunting. right? And, you know, oh God, how am I going to do the finances for business? How am I going to be tax efficient? How am I going to do this? You know, where can I save some money here? How can I spend money there, right? And people want to stay within the confines of the law and make sure that they're compliant and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it can be quite difficult if you've got someone who isn't very approachable, you know, someone who can just pick up the phone, oh, Francesca, can you just explain this to me, right? So I think that's really key. And I think that's what I get from you and have over years. You know, that sort of approachable, friendly.
Yeah,
you know,
there is a fear around businesses though of sounding stupid.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, isn't it? And like,
I
you've
mean,
got
I'm
to know
often
business,
stupid. I'm often stupid.
I know, but you don't want to come across as a businessman that don't really know how to make money.
Yes.
So it's
I know how to make it. I'm just not sure what to do with the money.
Yeah, but it's true though, isn't it? Like, so that's why we wanted to come in at that different approach where we use all the likes of Xero, QuickBooks to be real-time information for your data and your information, and discuss it in a easy to understand, no question stupid type way.
Yes.
So, and
that's really key.
And obviously, I feel like this is definitely more up and coming about
100%.
For the younger entrepreneurs coming through. They'll be coming to Future Cloud Accounting because we're on it. We're cool. We're up on the latest information technology. We don't just stay as we were, because we have to keep adapting your business every 5 years. I say relook at everything all over again.
I think I always say that if we're not evolving, we're standing still, and if we're standing still, we're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to be moving. A bit like if you were being, if you were like trying to dodge, let's use Gladiators as an example, because I want them to bring back. Do you remember Gladiators in the 90s? Right, I'm old enough. I'm old enough to remember.
Well, how old
you don't look.
I did watch,
but I watched it in the 90s. Right,
yeah.
They had, was it Powerball, where they had the guy, and do you remember Hunter, who was absolutely huge, and he used to stand with that big thing they'd have to hide behind, like almost like they were doing paintball, but they were like being peppered. That's how I feel like business is. If you're hiding behind, you've got to keep going, right? You've got to keep moving forward. And I feel like you need to keep dodging and ducking and weaving and moving forward. But if you're not moving, you stand still, you're going to get hit.
Exactly.
That's the key bit for me.
But
that Gladiators reference, bring it back. Bringing it back. My kids love the new series.
I'm watching it. I love it.
I love it.
It's just easy watching, isn't it?
Mate, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm not fit enough to do it. You probably are now with all your PT.
Well, maybe.
Maybe you could be the next Gladiator challenge.
Yeah, I'm not bothered.
I love that.
Could you imagine?
Love that.
Watch your space.
Mate, I would love that. So what do you think is the future of your business, and what do you think the future is visually for finance? Do you think people need to jump on this bandwagon?
Yeah, I do think people need to be on the bandwagon, especially digital, fast replies. Everyone wants an answer straight away, and that's just the way the world's going. You can make people wait, but there's always going to be someone faster than you, to be honest. I was discussing earlier about offices as well. Do people need offices? There's a lot of businesses that not even having an office. So can we grow all around the UK but not actually have an office base anymore? How does that look and feel? A lot of our clients are doing it online with us because it saves their time as well. Like that, businesses need to have time for their own business and not driving around to meet their accountant when they can get a quick answer online and everything's up to date, so you can have a nice 15-minute conversation on Zoom or Teams or whatever. So I feel like loads more accountancy firms
need to start being more I guess more agile
for the client.
Speaking about visuals then. You're on the Making Video Your Business podcast today. But you're doing your own podcast.
I know.
You're launching.
We've done 20 episodes. 20th episode came out today at 11 a.m. I haven't even done a post about it yet. So the idea was, I've got a friend who...
Plug the podcast, what's it called?
Well, we changed the name, but Real Talk and Revenue.
Love it.
Real Talk and Revenue. So we had an old name. I'm just trying to remember it. Couch to Calculator.
Love it.
But we did a bit of market research not long after. People were like, we thought it was going to be about numbers.
Yes.
So I thought, hang on a minute. No, we're not going to change it. And this is the beauty. If you're setting up a business or you're in business, don't be afraid to change stuff.
Evolve, even
if it's a week later.
That's
what we did. So I thought, no, we're going to change it to Real Talk and Revenue, because what we're doing is talking real. Being really open, like really open. But we're also talking of ways like you can grow your revenue by building yourself up personally. And that is so true. Like with personal branding as well on online, we're talking a lot about that. Building yourself up personally will make you a better business person.
100%.
So we talk a lot. That's what I wanted. We're not having guests because they are the traditional way of like, we've got a guest on. Do you want to hear about their story?
I know, guests are so old hat. I don't know why.
No, exactly.
Don't know why we're filming it.
I'll get my coat. No, but there's a place for that.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that because I feel like because people have asked to come on it.
Yeah.
Can I be a guest on your podcast? I'm like, oh my God, we're not having guests. You do question yourself. My next step, because I'm getting sponsorship, I might actually change it to a paid podcast, but we're building. We have to, build. I've got visual,
You've got a vision for that.
Yeah, I've got a vision for that.
Yeah.
There is something else that I'm not going to mention yet, but something exciting I'm going to do for the listeners. It's going to be very different.
Keep listening. I mean, with guests for us, like when we launched ours, it was going to just be me and Matt. Like it was just going to be me and Matt. Yeah.
Why did you change it?
So we actually didn't think anyone would come. Actually, that was the reality of it. I don't think we had. We're confident guys. Right? We're confident people. Yeah. Right, it's fine, whatever. But we were like, will people come to our studios? Will people come and do podcasts? Are they going to be bothered enough?
Yeah.
Are they going to care enough? Whatever.
Yeah.
So initially we're like, well, let's just do it, me and Matt, right? And then we're like, well, why don't we just ask some people that might come, like some clients of ours, who are good clients and their friends or whatever. Why don't we just ask them if they'll come? And they were like, yeah, of course, mate, no problem, whatever. And they came up, and then we did some podcasts, and then it started going out, and because obviously we make visual stuff, it looked great.
Yeah.
And then we had a few messages on LinkedIn and stuff. People were like, oh, your podcast looks great. Like, do you need more guests? And I was like, if you're prepared to come,
I love that people are asking.
That would be great. We'd love you to come. And then we ended up talking to some people who I was like, let's see if we can get those guys. So we've got a guy who we work with in Fife called Jim Parker, who's amazing.
Yeah.
He's like incredible business person, brilliant brain. He came on some training with us in 2019, and then he's gone on and made huge success of video.
Oh, brilliant.
Anyway, so I rang him. I said, when are you next down? Because obviously we're on the East Coast Main Line. So I said, when are you next down in London? And he said, oh, not till November. And he was like, why? So what? We'd love to have you on the podcast. Like, if you're passing, can you just hop off the train at Grantham? We'll come and get you. We do the podcast, and you can hop back on the train and go down to London. He was like, I'll just fly down. So, and I was like, really? He said, yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll take my wife away for a weekend in London. You're only an hour from there, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously Fife's far.
Yeah.
And so he went to London for the weekend, and then came up on the train from London for an hour, did the podcast, then went back down to London, had the rest of his weekend, came on a Friday and done. And I couldn't believe it. And people have said, well, of course people will come. Like, it's great, it's visual, whatever.
I get, yeah.
And so it's evolved. And now we're in the third look and feel.
Yeah, no, you started really early.
But, we're just always blown away. And when we filmed the 100th episode, has just gone out.
Yeah.
Or it's gone out a few weeks ago. And, when we put it out, the opening bit is like, we just couldn't believe anyone would come on. Yeah. And now we're 100 odd episodes in, and it's a whole thing.
They do say, I listened to a podcast the other day, Diary's CEO, Daniel Priestley.
Yeah.
He's saying get on as many podcasts as you can as a business
owner.
Well,
I know Dan Priestley.
Do you?
Yeah, so...
get him on.
Yeah, so he was at... he's big friends with a client of ours called Mark Burgess, who's in the Forbes 100, whatever.
Oh, right, okay.
And he's an incredible business person, Mark Burgess. He's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
And Dan was speaking at events, so
small world, isn't it?
Yeah, small world, yeah.
So really, I just think, so doing a podcast is very different for an accountancy firm, so I thought we've got to do it. And my friend Jordan's a therapist, so we're sharing quite good mindset stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then through that, on LinkedIn, someone's messaged me to speak at an event about podcasts as an accountancy event, which is a really big one. In London. So I'm doing that as well. So there's opportunities everywhere. You just need to go for it.
Okay, so what do you think are your top 3 tips to getting started with video at all? Doing anything at all? What do you think your top 3 tips are for that?
Getting started with video?
Yeah, for anyone who's not doing any now, who's non-competing for you, obviously.
Well, I've the same as what I said before, like practice first.
Practice first.
Yeah. Also, maybe speak to a company, I suppose.
Yeah.
Was that a good tip to give?
Yeah.
Will people dare do that? Or they think it's got to come across professional and they've got all the gear and they've got no idea?
I like the idea of people doing it first.
Yeah, like practice yourself first.
When we run training, we all our training starts with a mobile phone and a microphone.
Yeah.
And then, evolve. If it starts seeing your return on time. And
I use my phone.
It's the investment. Like, it's not just investment in cash, it's investment in time, because time is important. It's as important, if not more important than money.
Yeah.
So for me, when we start our training, we encourage people to just go and buy themselves a cheap microphone. Use their mobile phone, get a little phone bracket or whatever, get, tripod, whatever.
Yeah.
Spend £100 max.
Yeah.
And just give
practice.
it a go.
Give it a go. Yeah. It's
and
so
see what
true.
happens.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, no one watches it. Best case scenario, someone might call you and go, I saw that video. I'd be really interested to work with you.
But I also think that no one's going to watch it on day one, and don't give up.
That's a key one.
So there's a consistency there.
Consistency is key,
And don't worry about that ex-partner seeing it, or your ex-friend, or your family members, because you've got to think about what's good for you and your business.
You've got to get out of your own way a lot.
Get out your own head. There was something else. I would also think about, because we all judge to a degree, but catch yourself judging what you see online, because if you're judging others, you're going to struggle to do it yourself.
Yes,
that's a big factor for me. I had to do that. Why are they doing it like that? Why are they doing this? And then I'd catch myself doing it and go, because deep down everyone wants to have a go at it, don't they? They just think they
have the confidence, or the inclination to do it.
Exactly. So I would catch yourself doing that and reframe it.
Awesome. Okay, can I have a film recommendation from you? What's your favorite ever movie?
Oh God, I don't really watch films anymore.
No?
Favorite ever movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't think of any. Give me some.
What do you think?
I like all the romantic stuff, don't I? I was brought up on Disney films, so I was obsessed with Disney.
Which is your favourite?
Yeah. Sleeping Beauty.
Amazing.
And Little Mermaid. That's so sad. Why have I just shared that? All the films that are out there, and I'm going, Little Mermaid.
I love Star Wars. I don't care. I don't care. I love Star Wars. It's my favourite.
I'm not one of them that will go to Disneyland and wear bloody Mickey Mouse ears all weekend. Do you know what I mean? No, but I won't.
No, I will. I will go. I will go. I will go. I will wear a Star Wars shirt and I will go to Galaxy's Edge and I will love it.
I
will love it.
But film-wise, you know what? I don't watch as many films. I like
like a series, like a box set.
I have watched them. My guilty pleasure is easy watching stuff. So a bit of Love Island. Nice. I don't dare admit that. But it's easy watching. You've just admitted it. Yeah, I have. God, edit that out.
No.
That's staying in, isn't it? That's going to be the short.
That's it. Yeah, I absolutely love Love Island.
Accountant watches Love Island. I don't know. I'm a bit boring like that. I used to watch the soaps, right? I was that person in my 20s, and then I thought, I'm not watching it anymore. It's so depressing.
Yeah.
And my life got better once I turned the news off and stopped watching soaps.
Yeah.
Because I consume a lot I think we all do.
Yes.
And I think I just want to watch all the nice things.
Nice.
Because then I'll live a better, happier life.
Yeah.
Watching the news and worrying me about stuff. No, thank you.
I agree.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
So I
stopped watching a lot of. I mean, I have to say, it's a tough one for us because we're in media.
Yeah, right? You have to be on the news.
And my first job was on a newspaper, so I was a journalist. So it's hard for me to not watch news. But during the pandemic, I had to turn it off because it was impacting my mental health. It was making me very miserable. And so I see headlines now, and what I do is I embed myself in news that's relevant to the industries that I'm working in, so trade news. So I'm aware of national news and geopolitical stuff, but I'm more interested in, if I'm working in property or finance or legal, I'm interested in what's going on in those professions. And so it's not quite as it's not as life or death. I think that's the key bit for me. But I'm aware of the headlines. I'm aware of it, but I try and minimise. Because I think I think when news became 24 hours a day, it became entertainment, and I don't think a lot of it's entertaining.
I know it's not, and social media can be like that.
That's only my opinion.
I know. And another thing I would advise as well, we're on video and stuff, follow the people that inspire you online as well, that will give you that, like, oh yeah, if they can do it. It's got to be people that you find genuine though. I'd say. Not the ones that you just see with a pretty face and a beautiful dress on. It's just going to make you think, what am I getting from that? So I would, because they say it's the people who you hang around with, the 5 people, but actually is it the people you follow online now? Because that's basically what we're doing.
I think they say, don't they, that you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get a new room.
Exactly that. I agree.
I think that's the key bit. So in order to elevate yourself. And I love imposter syndrome. It's my favourite.
People say avoid it, but actually
I love it. I think it's how you grow.
It's so true.
If you have that feeling, that's great. That means you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. You're doing something that is uncomfortable. But something that in the long run could have a massive benefit to you and your business.
100%.
So I love it. I think imposter syndrome should be sought, not hidden away from.
Exactly my thoughts on that as well, because you hear a lot of negativity around it.
I think it's great.
It is. It's so uncomfortable though, and just have to lean into it.
If you feel like that, that's because you're doing something new, something different, something challenging, something that could have a real benefit to your business, your life, your family, everything.
God, I've been uncomfortable for years now. Have you?
I mean,
I'm living in that
less uncomfortable now. But
it's
you know,
so, yeah, but what you've got to,
but I think you've got to try and elevate and try and push.
yeah.
And
So
go
if you
back
do
to
feel comfortable, I'm like, right, now I need to find something.
something new.
Yeah.
Keep elevating.
Yeah, definitely.
Fran, thanks so much.
Thanks for
I
having
really appreciate your time. I
Yeah,
know you're
thanks.
busy.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming. Like, as
Thanks
I say,
for having
it's
me.
lovely to see you.
Yeah, and you,
and I wish
likewise.
you and Future Cloud continued success. Well, I'll see you around anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.